I think what I say, is that like using what both Squared and Axe have said in terms of like this fear thing, right? Like the fear thing can be used in a good way. Not fear in the sense of like, oh, I'm so scared, but fear in the sense of like you didn't want to mess it up, right? And having that fear of like, not fear, but having that caution of not wanting to mess it up, it can make you act right. And that's why like I will say that you've got to be at a certain level in terms of like your maturity in the faith, because one thing that I feel like we've realized and we speak about all the time as we've grown in the faith is that like when you get a girl or you have a girl in your life, it's not just about, oh, I love her, I like her, she's great, she's gonna be a helper, and then that's it. It's like that element of you're cleaning her, bro. Like you're helping her to become the glory self that God has intended for her to be. Do you know what I'm saying? When we read Ephesians chapter 5 verse 27, and it talks about how Christ, he's presenting the church, as blameless, as holy,
spotless,
as spotless. That's the same kind of attitude that we should have when we have girls. So having that kind of fear of like, I don't want to mess this up, that caution, it makes you approach it in a way that you want to present her blameless. You want to present her, holy, and you want to be careful. Because like, what I've seen as well is that you see when you come to the faith first time and you're bare like zealous and you're bare like you're so careful of like, oh, I don't want to do this, and there's that I don't want to do this. Maybe fear, but like it's also good because it keeps you from certain things. But sometimes when you get a bit older in the faith or mature in the faith, you kind of lose that kind of sense of like, well, I shouldn't be doing this. You lose that reverence.
You get too complacent.
You get complacent. You start doing anything. And that's what I've realized with like guys and girls as well, like where when you first have a girl and you're mature in the faith and you're looking at it like, this is someone that God has entrusted into my hands. I want to take care of this properly. You're so careful of what you want to do and what you shouldn't do, what you should do. But as you get older, you have to be very careful because like slowly you can kind of like slip into like the standard just drops.
That's actually very real. The
standard drops and it's like we have to go back to the drawing board of what is the standard of excellence that God has called us to when it comes to our relationship with girls, our relationship with guys or whatever it might be, because I was talking to Squad about it earlier. The Bible says make no provision for anything that is bad. Like put on Christ, make no provision, Romans chapter 13 verse 14. But a lot of times in the way that we do things, especially now that we're in like when we look at like Christian couples or whatever it might be, the Christian setting nowadays, we kind of look around and see that because other people might be doing certain things and it looks like it's okay, we kind of move away from the standard that God has called us to and just do what they do because it's like they do it and there's nothing really bad coming from it, so it's calm. For example, like let's say, I don't know, kissing, for example. I remember when we first had this kind of like example, when we first had this conversation like a couple of years ago, we were saying, no, kissing's calm, like as long as it doesn't lead to whatever. But what I've realized over the years is that like we should sort of asking ourselves, what can we do, or what is like what can we do? Is more like, does it glorify God? And if it's a thing where it's like it doesn't glorify God, and you have to genuinely stay away from it because you know that you're making provision for something that shouldn't be there in the first place, stay away from it. But we kind of move away from that kind of little fear and caution that we have at first, and as we mature, we kind of just say, you know what, like we've arrived now, and that's when you start to
trust yourself too much.
Then you start to trust yourself too much, and then as a result, you just start to do things, and then you don't want to look like over spiritual. I don't want to do this, but sometimes it's needed, bro. Yeah. Sometimes those goalposts don't need to change, bro. And I think they need to stay where they are.
That, you see, especially in the prep time or like pursuing a girl, you see like how there's this people talk about like how guys don't put in the same effort when they've got the girl. Yeah. I think that's firstly you have to guard against that. Just on a loving somebody like Christ loves, you shouldn't
sacrificial.
But I think also in the sense of like in terms of how you view your relationship with God, I think the thought process can be like, when you're seeking God to understand, am I ready? Is this for me? Kind of whatever. You're seeking the face of God. Then you've got it cut up.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's not what you want to do, because it's when at the moment that you ask your girl or your guy asks you out, the work just starts.
Yeah.
And I think that it's very easy sometimes to kind of just, I think that even with me, I feel like when I got into a relationship, I think that, especially because mine was quite a long-winded process, I think I kind of took the foot off the gas a bit. But, you know, I think I kind of wanted
I've arrived.
I went into the space where, like, I was very thankful to God. Like, I think a lot of my prayer regarding my relationship at that time was just praise and thanksgiving, like, get me, etc., etc. But I feel like in that, it's like, how do I say it? Is that you see somebody gives you a present, you should be thankful for the fact that you've got it. However, you must continue to seek the wisdom that you need to use that present well.
Well, yeah.
And I think that's where kind of, I think, after, it's like, hey, we're here, but we're cool, we're chilling. I thank you, God, you did a good thing.
As you said, do you feel like there was a point where there was maybe like a spiritual burnout that may have occurred, especially like in the early stages of when you guys were couples?
I think there was a couple of things that kind of contributed to it. I think that also the timing of it was good and bad. Because I think at the time when me and her started talking again was the week before my grandma died. So, and then when I asked her out was, I think, a month after I came back from Uganda. So you see at that time, hey, bro, I wasn't trying to pray for nothing, bro. I'm like, hey, we've been praying hard these past 4 months, bro. We're good, man. And it's like, at that point, you're just like, hey, God, thank you, man. Hey, thank you, you get it? And I think there definitely was some burnout and some kind of fatigue. Because also at that point, me and her started talking, almost 2 years before then. So at that time, bro, prayed every prayer point, bro. If you're thinking, bro.
Hey, we're here.
You, bro.